Hi, this is Dr. Princetta Jones, and today's topic is Unwavering Faith with recording artists, educators, and mentors Jeff and Linda Shepard of Shepard and Green. So before we begin, Linda, can you start by giving our listeners a little background about yourself and how you got into the music business?
Well, I met Jeffrey in 1980. I was a transfer student from Mount Aloysius Junior College in Crescent, Pennsylvania, and he was attending Indiana University of Pennsylvania. And I met him at a black gospel choir rehearsal. That's where our journey began. And he had more experience performing professionally than I had, but I had been in music since I was 4.5 years old. So I've been studying and performing my whole life before I ever met him. So that's how the journey started.
And you, Jeff?
I saw her from across the room, and I knew she was a new face in the choir. And we started talking after that. And she started to do some working with me as I had some jobs on campus, playing music, and off campus in some clubs around town. Started studying at a settlement music school in Philadelphia. And my sister directed me there after being a drummer for a little while. My sister said, if you're going to do anything in music, you have to do something other than just drums. And she was a musician, so she was the settlement. Started there, and of course playing in churches. That's my background.
Wow, great answers. I'm sure inquiring minds want to know, how long have you guys sustained consistent work as full-time musicians, and what do you think the contributing factor is?
We've been full-time for 39 years, and I think the contributing factor is that we have a formula that works, and we've had to make adjustments through the years because, every business is always evolving, but especially show business.
But we had music in our heart before we even met each other. And when you're at a young age, which I always found unusual to people who would be even in high school and before college, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? I knew what I wanted to do when I was 12. And there was no going any other direction. So music was in the heart, and that's where it started. And that's one of the things that keeps it going. There's plenty of people out there to distract you and try and tell you what you need to do. This is what you need to do. But you have to stay focused and believe in yourself, obviously. This isn't a new concept. I've heard it, but there are lots of people that try to deter you from doing what your desire is. Because for one, they don't understand it. My own parents didn't understand the music business.
Yep. You have to have that unwavering faith and belief in yourself. And once you have fully accepted what you want to do in life and you have that unwavering faith, it's another aspect that needs to be explored. And that is learning the business side. Many are growing or have perfected their art, but fall short in the area of consistency, the business side of it, how to sustain longevity. And based on the example that you guys have shown others, I am impressed and I am honored to know that there is someone who gets it. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for me, Linda?
We didn't get into the business to be superstars. If that would have been something that would come across our plate, then that would have been awesome. But that wasn't our motivation. Our motivation was that we were both trained classically in music, and we wanted to find a way to make a living at performing music together. As we got more established, we were down in Society Hill section at a place called Arlene's. And the owner took us under her belt and told us, you guys have the talent. Now you have to learn the business.
Awesome. So what other professions are you guys involved in, and how are you balancing them?
Well, we also teach. We have taught privately, private students, each of us. I've been teaching piano privately, and Linda has been teaching voice in her vocal studio. And then together, we have been teaching at this school, Good Shepherd's Episcopal School in Tequesta. We teach there part-time once a week. And I've been doing some playing for local theaters, playing for different musical shows. We have a recording studio where we've been recording some people. And I've been doing some jingles in there for local television and local radio stations. And we also are musical directors at a church. So we have a church choir and we do that.
Jeffrey's the musical director at Unity Port St. Lucie, Unity Church of Port St. Lucie. And I'm the choir director there. As Jeff said, we have a music studio in our home, and I've been teaching private voice and trumpet for 30 years. And then we came across this, a friend of ours, she was the dean of another school down in Palm Beach area. So we've known each other for like 30 years. And they had lost a music teacher, which she moved to a different school, the Good Shepherd Episcopal School at Tequesta, Florida. And she contacted us 3 years ago. And so this is our third year there. She thought it would be good for both of us to be a team teaching at this school to bring some diversity of color at the school.
The name of the school has shepherd in it?
A Good Shepherd Episcopal School. It was funny, our first day, the students were like 3 years ago, Shepherd, their name is spelled like our school.
Yeah, some of them thought it was
our school.
Okay, that's not an accident, guys, that your name is the same as the school. That was created. I hope you realize that. That just gave me goosebumps, just so you know. That was amazing. Wow.
It's a miracle, like we say in our church. There's no coincidences.
That's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's a blessing.
Wow. I love that. What advice can you give to other musicians who are experiencing lack of work due to the pandemic?
You have to be opened up to things are different. Like things are different for us. I'm 61 and Jeffrey's 63. And we've been doing this for a long time. So the business has changed and has evolved, and we have to make changes with the business. Sometimes they just want a piano player, or sometimes they want Jeff to play for someone else. That was hard for me because we built Shepherd and Green brand, as a team. But when you want to keep working, you can't always afford to turn down work. And you have to humble yourself to know that there's a big picture and there's always a stepping stone.
I totally agree. Since the whole world was turned upside down, what other creative things did you guys have to do to make money?
We did driveway concerts in our driveway, and we put things on online for people to donate that way, and that went very well. But once we started opening up, we got places were open. We had to adjust our fee because we've all been in a pandemic, and this is what we do for a living full time. So we were like without any funds. Thank God we had the teaching on the side, but we had to be creative with taking less, because we wanted to work, and we had to give, just like the restaurants, they were closed, the nightclubs were closed, everybody lost money, and you had to learn how to, work together and build up that revenue again. So you have to get out there and do some things that you may
normally not do.
In other words, you have to recreate yourself and just be creative and come up with some other things to survive.
Exactly. And we had to do that.
Jobs that normally I probably would have turned down. They asked me, well, can you DJ? I think I can DJ. I can play music.
Right.
I did that. And someone asked me, can you host karaoke? Well, I've never done that, but I'll learn. But I'm going to bring my keyboard there too and do some playing, which is what I did. And that got built up. And the guy still wanted me to do it. I said, as long as I'm open and not a regular gig comes through, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Earlier, you mentioned that you guys have a studio. Am I correct in saying the name is Sheen Tracks?
You are correct.
How did you come up with the name?
We took part of Shepherd and we took part of Green, and we turned that into Sheen. That's how it worked out.
I like that. Linda, can you also tell the listeners about a project that you guys created recently?
During the pandemic, we wrote this, during Black History Month, we wrote this song called I Too Can Dream. And how Jeff came about that was we thought about Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. And we got it recorded. Damien Lowe in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
We reached out to him because he actually was a producer on our first CD project we ever did, I'm Living in Need, years ago. And we sent the track to him, and he ended up singing on some of it and helped us, all the kinks out of it. And we went to our local TV stations and local radio stations, and we were trying to get it out before Black History Month was over this past Black History season. And they've been playing it, and recently they started putting it back in rotation. And our local radio station here, WFLM The Flame, 104.5.
Nice.
And it happens to be a Black owner.
Okay.
And so people have been requesting it. It's been back in rotation. And then we'll have to I think I sent it to you in the messenger, but it'll be a song that will be here forever because it's talking about not just the times now, but from past. And that phrase, the more things change, the more they remain the same. That's one of the verses I wrote for the song. Unfortunately, being people of color, that's something we've seen our whole life.
Right.
And we're going to re-release that when Black History Month starts to come back around.
Oh, that's going to be
like
awesome,
Linda
guys.
Said, it's a year-round type song.
I agree. Very positive and extremely motivating. Wow, guys, you have been amazing. Just in awe of all the things that you have accomplished and are still working on accomplishing. And as we close, I just have one last question for you, and that is, with all the things that you're doing a fabulous job, as I said, of balancing, but how are you keeping the stress down? Because you have a lot going on. How do you manage that stress? And what keeps you grounded?
Myself, as far as making a living off of music, and that's what brings in our income, to put a roof over our head and food in our belly. I use music also as a tool, as a relaxation tool to get into things, to get into myself and just have a meditation type of relief. It relieves stress from me as well as put food on the table. But it's a different relief when I get to a piano or a keyboard and then just play for Jeff.
What keeps me grounded is, being very spiritual. I'm so thankful I grew up in the church and believing in the power of prayer and walking in faith and surrendering to God, even when it's hard, because the human side creeps in there. I'm a big believer of sharing and talking. I was very lucky to have a lot of women in my life that promoted that growing up. So I've always been a sharer of my feelings and not afraid to share my feelings and to keep that stress level down.
This has been another uplifting, enlightening, and empowering my guests again, Jeff and Linda Shepherd. Thank you for your love, your wisdom, your examples of excellence, and most importantly, your awareness. I leave you in love and light. If you enjoyed this episode, please like,